ponies were stretched out in a slow trot, their hoofs leaving deep prints in the two wheel-worn ruts, but raising no dust because of yesterday's 1-inch rain. Chacho hung back a little so the trailing horses would not kick wads of wet sand into his face. Chacho's brother Felix rode beside him in the right-hand wagon rut, his brown face sober. Pretty June mornings brought him no joy. He had worked too long for the gringos and had picked up some of their ways. A handful of silver might make him smile, but a sunny sky never would. "Cheer up, Felix," Chacho said. "Today all these broncs are broken. Today the sorrel mare will be mine." Felix shook his head. "And what if tomorrow she breaks her leg or cuts herself on the barbed wire? What will you have then? Better you had taken money for the job and gotten some of it in advance." "I would only have spent the money to buy the sorrel mare, or another like her. What is money except to buy what you want?" Felix shook his head. "You will be a poor man all your life." "Perhaps," Chacho grinned, "but I will always ride a good horse." In truth, the sorrel mare was not to be for himself. For more than a month now, he had ridden these dozen broncs every day and had taken their abuse and their bruises. Once he had been thrown into a fence and knocked half unconscious, but that was all right. All had been done in the hope that the sorrel mare would be a gift pleasing in the eyes of Luisa Aguilar. Luisa was the younger daughter of old Baudelio Aguilar, who rent-cropped a small farm 25 or 30 miles to the northward, across the line in the next county. Last summer, when Chacho could not find work punching cattle or breaking horses, he had gone over in that direction to stay with his old friends, the Bustamante family, and to chop cotton for the gringo farmers. He had intended to stay only a few weeks and then return home to see if more respectable work had opened up. But chance had brought his eyes to fall upon the slender form and lovely face of doe-eyed Luisa, a neighbor to the Bustamantes. He had stayed through cotton-picking season and nearly to Christmas, when all the cotton was out, and there was no longer any valid excuse for him to remain. There had been an understanding of sorts between him and Luisa by then. Old Baudelio had seemed in favor of it. Each time he had married off a daughter, he had lightened the burden upon himself, and God knew the burden had been heavy. But the old senora had shown little favor. All summer and fall she had been a relentless chaperone, never letting Chacho carry Luisa out of her sight, except when some other trusted person was there. Some of the older daughters had married men who had little more of the world's goods than Chacho. The old lady had given up hard at each wedding, but had bowed to inevitability, and had hoped her Luisa, the fairest of them all, should do better. Her beauty should at least bring her a match with a storekeeper in town, a man who could build her a house large enough that she and her husband would not have to share even their bedroom with the children, who in God's grace would surely come. She was dismayed when Luisa's eyes brightened to the handsome face and the easy, uneducated talk of this rootless vaquero, this shirtless cotton-picker Chacho, who had no steady job of his own, but lived much of the time at the ranch where his brother worked, eating the patron's food, doing work without pay for his brother's patron in exchange for the courtesy, doing outside work anywhere he could find it. It was at Easter that Chacho had promised Luisa a good horse. He had made the long ride to visit and go with her to Mass, hoping this gesture might help prove to the old senora that he was not in league with the devil. He found the whole family walking from the farm into town for church. One of their mules had taken down with a bellyache and could not be used to pull the wagon. Chacho had told Luisa she would not have to walk again, that the next time he came he would bring her a fine horse that she could have for her own. Thus it was that when the gringo horse trader Barnhill offered him the chance to saddle break a dozen green broncs,